Hey everyone, welcome back. Or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jeremy and I'm the author of the Conversion Protocol series. This story releases 3 times a week on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Just a quick note, each video is only one chapter long, so you can easily keep up with the story and never have to wait too long for the next part. If this is your first time on my channel, please go check out chapter 1. Alright, let's dive in. Chapter 2, The Backyard. The drive out to Anita Hart's suburban neighborhood took about 25 minutes. Long enough for the rain to ease up into a miserable drizzle, and for me to regret taking the case at least 3 separate times. She drove up a beat-up little electric sedan that smelled like stale coffee and kids' sneakers. I sat in the passenger seat, window cracked, watching the city lights smear across the glass. The further we got from downtown, the cleaner the streets looked. Neat rows of houses with solar panels and the occasional mod-friendly yard. Extra tall fences, reinforced gates, protein-heavy carnivore landscaping for the big cat and wolf types. Progress, they called it. "You don't believe me," Anita said, eyes fixed on the road. "Not really." "I believe something happened," I replied. "Something bad enough to send a grown woman to a washed-up ex-cop in the middle of the night. That's enough for me to start." She let out a shaky breath. "Fair enough." We pulled into a quiet cul-de-sac. Her house was a modest 2-story with beige siding and one of those smart security systems that probably cost more than my car. The kind of place where nothing bad was ever supposed to happen. She killed the engine but didn't get out right away. "He was right there," she whispered, staring at the wooden fence along the side yard. "Playing with that damn soccer ball I keep telling him not to kick so hard." I grabbed a flashlight from my bag and followed her around the side of the house. The backyard gate creaked when she pushed it open. The moment I stepped onto the grass, the hair on my arms stood up. The yard wasn't just damaged. It looked wrong. A wide patch of grass near the center was flattened in a massive, irregular circle. The blades weren't just crushed, they were melted at the tips, fused together like someone had taken a blowtorch to them. In the middle of that circle were deep impressions, 4 of them, too big to be dog prints, each one bigger than my spread hand, with clear claw marks gouged into the dirt. I crouched down and ran my fingers over one. The soil was still warm. "Jesus," I muttered. Anita stood a few feet away, arms wrapped tightly around herself. "I told you." There were more prints leading toward the back fence, huge, heavy. Whatever made them had been moving fast. The wooden fence itself was shattered outward, splintered boards hanging at ugly angles like something the size of a small truck had barreled straight through. I found a clump of coarse black fur caught on one of the broken planks. It didn't feel like normal animal hair. It was thicker, almost wiry, and when I rolled it between my fingers, it seemed to shimmer faintly under the flashlight beam before going dull again. I slipped the fur into an evidence bag. "Security cameras?" I asked. Anita shook her head. "The footage is corrupted. All 3 cameras just glitched out at the same time. The security company says it's impossible, but they can't explain it." Of course they couldn't. I spent the next 20 minutes walking the yard, taking pictures, collecting anything that looked even slightly useful. The whole time, Anita stood near the back door and told me the story again in a hollow voice. The way Damian's scream had changed pitch, the sounds of bones snapping and reforming, how fast it had all happened, how the thing that used to be her son had looked at her for one terrifying second, with those huge golden eyes before bolting. I've seen people lie. I've seen people exaggerate trauma. This didn't feel like either. This felt like a woman who'd watched her entire world shatter and was still trying to pick up the pieces with bleeding hands. When I finally stood up, my knees cracked. All right, let's go inside. Her kitchen was warm and smelled like the dinner she never got to finish. I sat at the table while she made coffee we both knew neither of us really wanted. You said the man smirked, I said, pulling out my notebook. Can you describe him? Average height, hood up, but I saw part of his face. Light skin, sharp features, and that smirk. Like he was enjoying it. Like he'd done it before. I wrote it down. Not much, but it was something. Any idea why someone would target your son specifically? She shook her head, eyes distant. We're nobody. I'm a logistics coordinator. Damian's just a normal kid who likes soccer and those stupid holographic trading cards. None of this makes sense. I sipped the coffee. It was terrible. We talked for another hour. I asked every question I could think of, looking for any thread that might connect this to the normal kinds of ugliness I deal with. Corporate espionage, mod gang shit, blackmail, revenge. Nothing fit. Eventually I stood up and handed her my card. I'll start digging in the morning. In the meantime, stay inside as much as you can. Keep your doors locked. If you see or hear anything strange, call me, not the cops. She nodded, clutching the card like a lifeline. Thank you, Mr. Elliot. I know how crazy this sounds. Yeah, I said, heading for the door. It does. I was halfway down her driveway when my phone buzzed. Fell. I answered. Little late for you, isn't it? Got a weird message from Ramirez. Fell's deep voice rumbled on the other end. Even over the phone, I could hear the low, bear-like bass that came with his mods. Said you might need some muscle on something impossible. What kind of trouble did you step in this time? I glanced at Anita's house. The lights were still on in the kitchen. The kind that leaves melted paw prints the size of dinner plates. Fell was quiet for a second. Then, are you shitting me? Wish I was. You free tomorrow? For you? Always. I hung up and kept walking toward the main road to call a ride share. The drizzle had picked up again. As I stood under a streetlight waiting for my ride, I couldn't stop thinking about that color-shifting message on my office wall. When power converts to power, the truth is revealed. And those massive prints in the backyard. Whatever was happening in San Antonio, it didn't feel like mod tech. It didn't feel like anything I'd ever run into before. And I had the sinking feeling that the kid who used to play soccer in that backyard was only the beginning. And that's the end of Chapter 2. If you want to find out what Blake discovers next, make sure you're subscribed. New chapters drop every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Drop a comment and let me know what you think is really going on. Until next time, stay sharp out there.